This is the reason why Kasey Kahne made one of the hardest decisions of his life. For years, Kahne pushed himself to the limit on the track, competing in some of the most dangerous and thrilling races in motorsports. But Kahne just woke up one day and decided to walk away from full-time racing. So in today's episode, we'll take a closer look at the challenges he faced and what caused him to make this decision.
Ryan Blaney has won his way into the championship for
A great day for Kyle Larson.
Seventh career win in his 100th.
Joey Logano takes the checkered flag. Hell yeah,
Kasey Kahne began racing when he was very young and soon proved that he had a rare talent for speed and skill. He drove in hundreds of races, and his achievements on the track brought him many wins and a loyal following. His life in racing was full of thrills and challenges that few people ever experience. He was known for his determination and passion as he pushed himself to the limit in every race. Kahne started his racing career in his teenage years and quickly climbed the ranks in a sport that demands courage and skill. In the early days of his career, he would compete in more than 70 races every year. He drove on many different tracks and faced many dangerous situations. Every race was a test of his physical strength and mental focus. The sport gave him both great joy and great risk. He learned fast that the margins between victory and a hard crash were very thin. At times, he had to make split-second decisions that could change the outcome of a race. Every lap was a lesson in survival and performance. During his long career, Kahne experienced crashes that could have ended his racing days very quickly, and one of his most memorable accidents happened in 2019. In that race, he was behind the wheel of his sprint car when the car flipped and hit the door top. The crash was very severe and his head hit hard against the metal. The accident left him dizzy and uncertain about the future.
When I crashed my sprint car hard and knocked out and,
you took a little break.
And realized,
Yeah, didn't you have to step out?
Yeah, I tried to race.
Yeah.
And basically I was entering the corner. When I thought I was entering the corner at the right time, it was like 100 feet late. And I had no clue other than when I would get there, I was in a different spot than I really thought I was in.
Right.
And that's when I realized, I was questioning kind of my head.
Kahne had already faced another crash in 2013 at a track in Loudon, New Hampshire. In that incident, he hit the inside wall with a force that surprised him. Although he walked away from the crash with no immediate signs of serious injury, he later realized that his reaction on the track was not the same as it used to be.
There was another, in 13 I crashed at Loudon, New Hampshire, hit the inside wall.
Yeah. You gave this really crazy interview. Do you ever, have you
So I'd seen the interview and it's very confused.
Yes.
And I caught myself after that. I would be driving, I lived in Sherrills Ford, I'd be driving into Mooresville and just be happy as can be running 25 miles an hour down the road, 35 miles an hour down the road.
A 50-mile-an-hour zone or something, like slow.
And have no clue, right? So I caught myself doing things like that after that one.
Yeah.
But I never felt off in the car. But when I look back, I know I had to have been off in the car.
Sure.
But I didn't feel it. The only things that were off to me was, I'd catch myself doing things that I was surprised I was doing on the roads. So that means, in the car, I might have been as well, but always raced through it. Prior to that, I never felt anything different, weird, nothing.
In addition to the toll on his body, Kahne was very careful to examine the equipment he used in every race. The safety features in the cars evolved over the years, and he was among the first drivers to advocate for better safety measures. He spent time with experts and mechanics who studied the forces that affected the driver during a crash. One of the improvements he championed was a change in the center belt design. He learned that the center belt was the most important part of the seatbelt system because it held the driver securely when the car landed on its roof. In his early years, he had experienced a situation where the center belt tore the seat back because it was not supported well. After that incident, he worked with experts who helped him to design a better system that included a steel bar to protect the belt. He also embraced a new system that used a series of pucks that could absorb the force of an impact.
John Padalecki. He came by our shop from Nascar and spent a good bit of time reviewing some wrecks with me, and I learned way more about what the seatbelts are going through, what seatbelts are going through what, because certain ones really aren't doing a whole lot and other ones are, depending on how you land. To me, the biggest thing is, or the two biggest things I've done, and I won't race a sprint car without it, is we put a second that the center belt between your legs goes over a steel bar basically, so it can't tear the seat back. That was one thing that I had. It was
tear the seat.
Yeah, so like where the center belt comes up and goes through the seat.
Yep.
Usually that hole's a little further in front. So when you wreck hard upside down, I tore my seat once through there.
Jesus. The aluminum? Is it an aluminum seat?
Which instantly made the belt
looser.
3 inches longer.
Damn it.
So now you've lost that center belt. So the next time I landed that way, I didn't really have the center belt. And that's the only belt that pretty much holds you, or it holds the highest percentage by far when you land on your top.
The changes to the safety equipment were not the only factors that influenced Kahne's decision. His mind became a place of careful thought and reflection. After each crash, he would spend many hours thinking about what happened and how he could prevent it in the future. He talked with doctors who specialized in head injuries and listened to their advice with an open heart. The doctors explained that even if a driver feels fine after a crash, the damage could be building up slowly over time. They gave him numbers and data that showed how repeated concussions could affect a driver for years. He learned that some drivers might not feel the effects immediately, but the damage would show later in life. This information was a wake-up call for him. The numbers were clear. Even one severe concussion could reduce a driver's reaction time by several milliseconds. In a sport where every millisecond counts, that loss was too high a price to pay. Kahne also took a close look at his own habits on and off the track. He realized that his racing style was once built on instinct and pure adrenaline. In his younger years, he would race as hard as he could without stopping to think about the risks. But after each hard crash, his mind grew more cautious. He began to observe his driving in everyday situations. Even though he was still confident in his skills, he felt that he could not risk his health any longer by pushing too hard. The change in his driving habits was a clear indicator that he was ready to rethink his racing career.
Like every single time, I learned from that last wreck, that wreck where I hit my head hard, that I just need to be more, really do a much better job of understanding where I'm at and who I'm around, and their tendencies, and just how maybe they race, and just basically use my head more than just going out there and going as hard as you can.
Yeah.
So I look at everything a little differently now.
Did you change anything?
I feel like I'm more aware of the situations I'm in, where I'm at, what I'm trying to accomplish, and do it in that.
Family played a very important role in Kahne's decision to step away from full-time NASCAR racing. He has a wife and children who rely on him not just as a driver, but as a stable figure in their lives. The constant risk of injury and the toll of repeated crashes made him think about the future. He knew that every race came with a high cost and that his family would feel the impact if he suffered a severe injury. The safety of his loved ones was more important than any trophy or win. He made the decision to race less and to focus on being there for his family. It was not a decision that came lightly for a person who had dedicated his life to racing. He spent many long nights weighing the numbers and the risks. And that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to comment down your thoughts on this. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well.